Hello viewer, this is tape 1 of the History of the World, an accurate depiction of our recent past, uncensored by any governments. I am a member of the FRM, and I am here to inform you of the world as it is. Use this information to educate others and free yourself of your obedience. During the year -3 until -1 or so, Flatland, once then a mere city, was on the rise. It grew in international prominence through its endurance, creativity, and ingenuity. Our country was made the center of the world, say that for Abneo, leading it in all realms of social, economic, and political prowess. Our culture was shaped by rugged individualism and desire for creation and advancement. This led us to expand, while maintaining cohesion, in a way distinct and better than all other previous regimes in history. Once the city of Abneo fell, for reasons unknown to us at this point, Flatland was solidified as the beacon, the nexus, of the world. The era of Pax Flatlandica was here. The overall stagnation of Flatland was most definitely clear by the year -1. The reason I see fit for this stagnation, the reason the FRM sees it, is a death of culture, our original culture, that is. From complete power, a complacence was spread like a virus across our population. Flatland, the beacon of the world, had become sluggish, idle, from this status. The Flatland world order had made them comfortable enough to stop trying, stop thriving, and it was seen through its people. Innovation, technological, social, political, became less frequent, less eventful, less important. The people lost their sense of cohesion and their sense of individualism. They became lazy, insolent, demanding, all these things. Everything that was good and right from our society, what made it great, withered on the vine. Hello viewer, this is tape 2 of the History of the World, an accurate depiction of our recent past, uncensored by any governments. I am a member of the FRM, and I am here to use this information to educate others and free yourself of your obedience. As stated in segment 2, the people of Flatland became entitled, narcissistic, and conformist. With this came the creation of something new and ultimately, fundamentally, disastrous for our nation when taken to the extreme. A large bureaucratic welfare state was created to manage Flatland and take care of these grown babies that had emerged as a majority in Flatland. This was no longer a land of expansion, innovation, or progress. It was now a land of stagnation and decline. With time, the people became more dependent, and yet more demanding, on this Flatland bureaucracy. The state began programs to use the supercomputers built long ago to manage its huge population and its huge demands. This process of cultural decline continued, and by the nearing end of year -1, the people were completely dependent and powerless to this unnamed, unfaced bureaucracy who used massive computers to, benevolently, watch over and protect the population of Flatland. In October, or possibly December, a prominent and growing figure in the supercomputer welfare department, originating from some obscure office but gaining a following, took control of the whole agency outright. This was a surprise and outrage to many, but Uriah, who had gained the office through backroom deals and concealed illegal activities, now presided over all supercomputers, and hundreds, possibly thousands, of committees and subcommittees, councils and bureaus. They all had to obey him from above. Uriah's power over Flatland was great, and his morals were not. Now we must talk of another unsavory group that emerged in this decadent and deteriorated time in Flatland, the Nat News. Yes, this group many of you see as all-powerful, all-knowing, all-existing, is not such. This group has not existed since the beginning of time, as they say. It has not controlled and guided all of Flatland history to a divine point, as they lie. For those that do not comprehend what I am speaking of, you are lucky. You must be from distant lands or viewing this in the distant future. For those so fortunately uninitiated, NatNew is an abbreviation, though some have forgotten this, for the Flatland National New Thought Group. This faction in Flatland rose with the degeneration of culture, promising more wealth, more leisure, less pain, less hardship, less struggle and innovation to the people, and they responded accordingly. More and more NatNews were elected into the bureaucracy. The view of the NatNews is a very corrupted form of New Thought. Most of you will know of New Thought, but very few will know of its origination or proper values. Hell, most of you will swear on dying allegiance to New Thought, but will have never read its text, if you even know it has a text. The truthful origination of New Thought, not what the NatNews proclaim, was in Abneo, that ancient fallen civilization of the Middle Ages. It was brought here, and its values are such. All values must be accepted. Science and innovation is our way forward. And introspection into one's own mind is the key to happiness, not the worship of the state or the community or ideology. The NatNews corrupted this fully. People today, in Flatland, believe that the tenets of New Thought are as such and have always been such. The NatNews are correct. All other values must be rejected. Complacence is peace. Struggle in pursuit of one's goals are futile unless they are predetermined by the state. Introspection into one's own mind is pointless. The NatNews know all, including what you don't know about yourself. So all you must do is follow the NatNews and be guided forward, blindly. The NatNews also have other claims, such that New Thought originated in Flatland, not Abneo. In fact, they deny the claim that such a state as Abneo could have ever existed. It is as real as God, or the floating city of Flatland too. Ha! They say. Their view of all of history is as corrupted as their view of New Thought, declaring that for all of history, the NatNews have governed Flatland, leading it to glory against its unnamed and imaginary enemies. As I speak, the youths of Flatland are being taught all this rubbish, and it is nearly unbearable to think. I'm sorry for I've gotten ahead of myself. Before the NatNews were able to spread their gospel so far and wide, they had to get in power, right? Well, in December of the year -1, the power-hungry Eucharia and devilish NatNews joined forces. They both wanted power. They wanted money, influence, a people to control, a people to evangelize. Operation The Eye in the Sky was formed and concealed to the public, until it was unleashed. This machination was let out in March of the year 2023 for those using the old calendar, and January of year 0 for us. The Flatland bureaucracy was systematically and ruthlessly converted to NatNew ideology. In that month, nearly all those opposing this tyrannical movement were murdered, disappeared, or forced to resign. This strong will of the NatNews was enforced by Eucharia, who had, through his own political process, gained authoritarian control of all of Flatland's supercomputers, turning the android police force and military into enforcers of Eucharia and the NatNew rise to power overnight. What was the civilian response to this? Nothing, frankly. The people, docile and complacent, dependent and powerless to their bureaucratic and mechanical overlords, had no chance at mounting resistance at that moment. That is to imagine that the majority of people even oppose this tyrannical shift. Most people in Flatland at that point had some NatNews sympathies. The broad, positive goals the NatNews so deceptively promised made the people comfortable and generally okay with, if not even supportive of, this NatNew coup. The climax of this event was the proclamation of New Tomorrow, a tragic pitfall for our society, a literal demarcation of a new epoch, as this event marks year 0 in our calendar. This event, fabled by many, known truthfully by few, was a congregation in the 4th National Kriat of Flatland, with many of Flatland's people and all senior NatNew officers, in which the clandestine few, standing above all, metaphorically and literally, perched like vultures and dogs upon the crystal altar, proclaimed the birth of the new society of Flatland, our new tomorrow, our all tomorrows. And from that day forward, the NatNews have led Flatland, with violence and tyranny supreme. Hello viewer, this is tape 3 of the History of the World, an accurate depiction of our recent past uncensored by any governments. I am a member of the FRM, and I am here to inform information to educate others and free yourself of your obedience. Our humanity, our innocence, our creativity and drive towards progress has been taken away by this government occupying these lands. Our country, once held common with the most industrious, innovative, compassionate, and caring people to exist, has been stricken with complacence, dependence, obedience, and cruelty. Our culture has been completely warped to an unrecognizable point, a point that I am uncertain it is possible to reverse. The brainwashing of our people by the totalitarian Nat News, the control of our people by complex killing machines, the basic rights, the basic liberties, once held by all people in these lands, taken from them in such a slow and steady process as for them to not even recognize what they have lost. It is all too much. As a final message, I'd like to say to all that may be watching these videos, if anyone is ever able to retrieve them and learn from them, your liberty is a precious and sacred thing. Never let one such group take them away as what has happened in my homeland of Flatland. Remember the truth and retain hope and perseverance. Fight for what is right over what is wrong, and never lose such skill, clouded by ideology or community, to tell them apart. The arc of history is long, but it bends towards liberty. This is the FRM, signing out. Hail liberty. Hail victory.